All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first ever review. I wouldn't say first ever episode because I have plenty planned with Mason and I to do things with this show that I have been planning for quite a few years now. So we're just going to do a fun review. I've got some people on here to talk with me. Champ has not seen this movie, but he doesn't care about the spoilers because he'll forget it tomorrow. And I got Sean here who has seen it, so we're kind of discuss it.
I have the memory of a hamster.
Yeah, quite literally. I see you guys are popping in. I'm gonna give you a few minutes here. Pickle, thanks for jumping in. Paul, thanks for jumping in. Yeah. Oh, I have a lot. I have a lot to say. I think we all have a lot to say. Yeah. So yeah. Welcome to everybody coming into the chat. Thank you for jumping into Frightful Film Fiends. I'm glad that you're on this channel. This is so here at Film Fiends, like our goal is to like essentially talk horror history, film history with horror. We're gonna go do some location scouting as well. That's coming up after October. That's probably you're gonna see a lot of that in the winter and then definitely the spring because that's when a lot of that can be done. Convention interviews and of course the big podcast, which I'm not going to spoil anything about that. So yeah, let's get the show on the road. Sean, so I mean, Sean, you're as far as the David Gordon Green trilogy goes. I'm just going to quickly kind of get your whole take on the first film and the second film really quick because everybody already knows my take on it.
Yeah,
and then just real quick takes of those first two.
The first film I didn't like as much as other people, but I thought it was a more than competent, entry. Yeah, and
Right.
Despite some issues I have with it, sort of like what I thought about like the Rob Zombie films to an extent, which do have a lot of issues, but I don't mind because I think Rob Zombie kind of knew that like he can't outdo the original, so he kind of just didn't bother, did his own thing, and I think a lot of stuff worked and a lot of stuff didn't. And then the second one, they tried the PTSD element, which was like, okay, kind of a door, but also kind of bad. I don't know. And then the Halloween Kills. Yeah, I like the idea of what they were going for with Halloween Kills. Execution was pretty horrendous in a lot of parts and drags on for way too long. Like you knew 5 minutes in. What with this whole they're turning us into monsters things is, but they dragged on for like 50 minutes.
Yeah, well, and I think I'll get into this later, but there is a way to fix Halloween Kills, but a lot of that goes back to the script. I mean, you can't really edit it down, unfortunately. I just think he chose to focus on the wrong things in that second film.
Oh yeah, and the way they killed off so many characters, like that, the one at the very end, one of the dumbest movie deaths of all time.
Yeah, that's pretty far up there, I would say, for one of the dumbest by far. Liquid diarrhea, of course, champ. Let's get in. Oh, look, it's I thought Champ's house isn't that nice. Wait, go back to that background of that basement. Oh, wait, that wasn't a background. That's the base. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I had to go there. What's up, Andrea? Welcome to the chat. Going through this entire series, next body count. Nice. Good luck with that. Now, the first chunks, even the Thorn trilogy has some really good kills. Yeah, so 2018's I really enjoyed. Yeah. The dream. 2018's I really enjoyed. I like what David did with that first film for the most part. Now, mind you, I'm a fan of Halloween H2O. So I didn't mind how they ended it with H2O. Resurrection, that doesn't exist in my mind. H2O I thought was a good way to end it. Obviously, they didn't. I do not mind the Michael and Laurie brother-sister connection. I actually think it can be utilized well, and sometimes it was, and other times it wasn't. So I think H2O is a good cap off. I don't mind that. I think it's a nice personal connection that totally works. Problem with David Gordon Green's films for me are there's too much coincidences. Like all these people know each other in the same town 30 years later. They all have they all know each other now, and they all have the same problems, and they just bump into each other. There's a lot of coincidences, you know what I mean? All these people just so happen to be that all these people are connected in some way or another. I think that's a little silly. And that's part of where the plot stuff comes.
In my opinion, I think that's way too stupid. In the trilogy, you should have like someone's like introduce a couple of characters here, introduce a couple of characters in the second movie, and then introduce the last few characters.
Well, yeah, I would have preferred them kind of splitting off and focusing on multiple storylines, story threads within different films, and still focusing on Laurie. But I mean, that's not what they did. It's fine. But yeah, the whole thing. I'll let you read the Andre's comment about the brick wall. As far as this movie goes, though, I didn't have very many expectations for this, because the way I see it is, with Michael specifically, there's many fans of this character. I am a true fan of like classic Michael. I love Michael a lot. It's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't with how you're going to end. If you're going to truly end his legacy, it's like people weren't going to be happy one way or another. If Laurie ends up killing him and living, people are going to be mad that Michael's dead. If Michael kills Laurie and goes on, people are going to be mad of that. There's not really a good way to end that, per se. Now, do I think they ended it properly here and subverted my expectations? No, absolutely not. In fact, if anything, I think it's more divisive what they did in certain ways. But yeah, we'll get into that, because I do have some talking points with Sean and stuff.
I say, if you're going to end it, like, if you want to make sure everybody's actually happy, have it be like, somehow, as one of the movies say, it's not the person under the mask, it is the mask itself, and how it don't like it's taking, or you do something like that, and
they kind of do that, champ. They do the idea that, and this could work. The idea of that he's called the shape, right? So the idea that the shape takes a new form, that it just changes shape, and it's really about who's under the mask, and that mask then can be moved to someone else. They start going down that route. It's how they do it that I have a problem with, which we will get into. So I think
it's like they turned him into Jason Voorhees or something.
Basically, you're doing it kind of like Destiny or D&D. I mean, oh wow, you got that.
Oh god, now we're going into video game. Well, video games are different because you can,
especially with the Friday the 13th game.
That was an that died off faster than Jason in 5.
I like that they ended it.
Yeah,
I mean, at least we have a horror game that's actually fun and will scare the fucking shit out of you.
I mean, well, yeah, I was gonna say the Evil Dead one's far superior. What's up, Jess? How's it going?
Hi, Jess.
Andrea. But yeah, everybody's reintroducing each other. We're all new here. But no, I think the thing that I kind of want to talk about, Sean, was like, how did you feel about how they handled Laurie in this chapter, as opposed to Kills, where she really wasn't a big crucial part of it?
Okay, well, I will say with Kills and everything and all the gore. Now, I didn't really care going into it that, when I heard Michael Myers was going to be barely in it, OG fans know he barely had much action in the original anyway. What made it so amazing was the creepiness, feel, the nostalgic spirit of Halloween, instead of as much as like Michael Myers, it was just a bonus. And he was barely in it as well, outside of flashes. So, I would have been fine with that, and they had like that flashback of like Halloween 2019 or something. So maybe flashback, like one kill per year leading up to whatever year or something, like flashes. But then for the most part, everything else they tried, I would have been, fine with that. And then like a big, climax fight maybe with her. But yeah, this was, what they did was basically, It's like they made the Attack of the Clones of Halloween films, and with Laurie, like this and Halloween Kills is. It's like she was just waiting for a paycheck. I don't know what they were trying to do with her after the first.
She also does really weird things in this, where she's like raising her granddaughter, and they're trying to hammer home the idea that she's just not fit to, like, she just can't raise like normal people because she's still a wild child inside and a crazy grandmother. So she does weird things where she's like flipping off her granddaughter and saying
what they were gonna do though. It was so obvious.
But it's like too much. It's
like
too obvious. Yeah.
It's like they would get an old like house that's kind of like worn down, and they would be living together, and they would like family arguments. She doesn't know really how to raise because she's been through all this. It was so obvious what they were gonna do, and it didn't work.
Well, Sean, what you just said, this movie is the epitome of it's obvious what they're going to do. And that is my biggest problem with Ends is they had kind of like this clean slate and this really interesting idea of her moving on. Fine, whatever. And then they just go right back to doing cliches you can telegraph miles away. Mainly with the introduction of this new character, Corey. It's like, hey, we haven't seen this character for the first two movies. I wonder what's happening. By the way, the opening for the movie, for the introduction of this guy, all right, is great. The opening's great. It's really well thought out, and I thought how they handled that was cool. Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a problem with it.
I did have some issues with it, like but I do also think. Like, a lot of people say they didn't expect it. I kind of did because they made it a bit too obvious. I think if they maybe had, like, some fake blood by the kid, like, catch up, leading up to, the base, the attic or whatnot, then, it could have been more unpredictable and then breaking the door down. And I think if they didn't have any shots, of the parents coming home leading up to it, besides the one of them opening the door throwingly and then, witnessing that, then that would have been a lot better. But for the most part, I agree. It was pretty great. And it was well shot. Like, the way it was shot, I'm like, God, there are so many scenes from Kills where I wish it was shot like that instead.
Yeah. Kills is really, I mean, like, if you accept Kills as being kind of like just like a pulp, almost like a pulp grindhouse film, it works a little bit better on its ridiculousness. But and that's fine. And the best part about Kills are the kills. So at least they got that right. It's not the story and what they do with the characters or the pace of that.
Yeah, and that's another thing as well, because you didn't want there to be as much action in this one. It would be a bit sad, getting old after what we saw in Kills. So that's another reason why I was kind of fine with Michael Myers not being as much in this. But
from what I've seen from Kills, I think that was the perfect setup trying to go into this third and final movie. But the way they executed this movie was just poorly done.
Well, and it's what I told you too. It really depends on your choice of pacing. But I maybe I would have liked Kills better if it was the slower paced character development one, and the third one was the balls to the wall, we're wrapping it up type of thing. Kind of like what Harry Potter did, I guess, is the best comparison I can have. It's for the later in the series, but I just I don't want, I don't know. I felt like, aside from the intro with the introduction to Corey, I felt like the pacing was a little I like slow movies. I just say if you have bad dialogue and you have bad characterization, it doesn't help the pacing, because if you're invested in the characters and the scripts, that's what helped with a slow burn movie. And this does not have that. And so it has some ridiculous lines. But then, like,
I'm glad that they gave Tommy Wiseau more work. Right?
Oh God, that's all we need is more of him. The love interest. Yes, we have love interest. And if people have not already heard, that obviously Corey is, I probably should have put that banner on earlier, but anyway, essentially that Corey is falling in love with, or that they are mutually falling in love with each other. Laurie's granddaughter and him, which I always forget her name because she's such a nothing burger in these franchises that I don't care. Yeah. I'm not kidding you. I have forgotten her name.
Same.
I know her mom's name, Karen. Karen was more of a character in the in 2018.
Is Karen an actual Karen? As in
No. She's not actually. No. Yeah, it's an awkward name to give her, but no, her daughter Karen is actually like an interesting character. She has some interesting stuff in Kills, and she's more interesting in 2018. But like,
and then they ruined
the
it.
granddaughter's nothing for me.
It's like, why have a granddaughter if you're not going to make her character at least somewhat interesting?
Well, no, they give her a bunch to do, but her actress I don't think is great. I don't know. Maybe you would disagree with me on that one, Sean.
She's really bad. I'm sorry.
She was okay in the other ones a little bit, but that's because they give her less screen time. Now she has a ton of screen time.
Yeah, she's like as bad as some of the actors in that new Scream, and I absolutely hate this guy. With all my this guy has ruined the whole fucking trilogy.
I don't know. The Corey character, aside from me sympathizing for him for the whole babysitting thing and him accidentally killing the kid in the intro, and how that happened, which is brutal, and that scene's great. I think the moment they do the thing where he's like, treading like a hobo on a bike with like his bags carried on, and everybody's kind of ostracizing. The town is calling him a child murderer. I already at that moment knew exactly where they were taking this, and I rolled my eyes, leaned back, and I was sitting in the drive-in with my husband. I looked at Mason and I said, Mason, how much you want to bet they are going to take the approach of turning him into the villain, and somehow he will get a hold of Michael's mask and he will become the new Michael Myers?
Oh yeah.
And Mason goes, "Oh my God, you're right." Because we've watched so much shit. We're already predicting it. It's just so badly telegraphed. Like there is something they could have drawn out a little bit more to make that less obvious. And he transitions very quickly, like with that runtime.
Oh yeah,
even though
it's like the second chapter of It with that one guy who's like in the asylum. Holy fuck.
It almost felt like there was a first chapter that was missing. It almost felt like he should have been developed in the second film.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to transition somebody else to be Michael Myers, either do that in like kind of like what Spiral does, for and like tell stories, but have like a very
drawn out and convoluted.
Yeah, subset going into the next franchise. Whoever gets the rights to Halloween have like a subset of movies going into the next Halloween series.
To be honest, champ, I thought by the end of this movie, if they didn't introduce this Corey kid, for sure my prediction was to explain Michael at the end of this. They're going to do something kind of dumb, but at least a little bit easier to explain, where someone's going to Laurie's going to cut deep into like his chest and realize he's a robot. That's like going to be the big answer at the end of the movie. That's what I swore was going to happen. I was like, they're going to do something like that. I mean, it would be ridiculous, but they've already went ridiculous. So it could have been acceptable in that universe with David Gordon Green with what he fucked up and kills anyway at this point. So it's whatever.
Oh yeah, and he's gonna do the Exorcist next, and it's gonna be connected to the original. Yay!
Which is a bad move. Who is he gonna? So is he gonna bring back Linda Blair? Are they gonna?
Maybe. Oh God,
are they even around anymore?
Linda Blair is still around. Yeah, she's alive. Maybe. She's just not the young girl. She's just not. I don't see her doing anything with the Exorcist, and considering that they literally destroyed her body in that role. And she has positive things to say about the reception of that film, but not too many good things to say when it considered, how some of the handling on the set. But they're, it's kind of mixed for her. So, but I don't know how I feel about that, but I do know that David Gordon Green touching a trilogy is just a bad move, and obviously it's going to be considered successful for him because these movies made money. I like the 2018 movie. If you're going to reboot it, that's the way you do it. Did I really need it to be rebooted again in this requel approach? No. Personally, I didn't. I mean, the Thorn trilogy was bad, and Zombie did with it was not my cup of tea.
I mean, what
But
Zombie did,
the first two movies are not horrendous, and H2O did a really good cap off, and it's like, did you need to go beyond that? Of course, then they ruin it with Resurrections.
Yeah, what I hate as well is now all the film IPs are like doing this, like same thing as Halloween 2018 did, and I hate it.
Everyone seems to think what's Halloween 2018. That's the term they're throwing around, is we should Halloween 2018 it. I kid you not. The girl who played Heather Lindenkamp, she's from Nightmare on Elm Street. She literally was quoted on an article recently where she says they wanted to Halloween 2018 Nightmare on Elm Street and bring everybody back. And I'm thinking, ooh, don't say that, considering we know what happened with those movies recently. So, you know, she really needs to ask the fans if that's what they want. I was like, yeah, that sounds great, and I wouldn't mind you guys coming back. But didn't Wes Craven do that with New Nightmare? He brought you back. Yeah. He did something new with the franchise, and he ended it on that cap. Like, and you know, other than Freddy versus Jason,
not bad,
yeah, no, that was a great movie. Other than Freddy versus Jason and that god awful reboot where they made him a pedophile, like this is. You know, those movies beforehand were not horrible. So I did feel like going further, they're going to do the same thing they did with Halloween 2018. They go too far, they spin it out, it gets out of control. It's like a giant truck spinning out of control on black ice.
I mean, what they should do is with some of these franchises is do what they did with Scarface. Instead, just leave Scarface alone, but instead have like a video game for it, like where it takes place right after the end.
I'm going to stop you right there, champ. And the reason why I'm going to stop you is because technically 1980 Scarface is a reboot of a previous film called Scarface. So technically the 80s Scarface that you and I know and love, that is a remake.
Oh shit.
And yes, I agree with you. Doing it in a video game format and doing the what if thing is probably the better way to do it for fan service without destroying continuity. I agree. Sometimes that can totally work. But yeah, in the case of that, it was already rebooted. Just like The Thing. We were talking about The Thing earlier with Sean. The Thing's a remake.
And
The Thing is superior as a remake, actually, because of it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. How did you think about the Corey actor? I mean, I thought he was good and the moments of terrible.
When the script, you know, held him back, he was all right. But you know, when they gave him too much power, he sucked. He was like,
he was crazy with power, crazy.
Oh yeah, he was like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like.
It was at that moment he knew he fucked up.
Did you laugh hysterically when he pops up behind Lori like a slasher villain? He's like, boom! Like, first of all, she looks out her window and he's next to a trim of bush, just like Michael in the first movie. And they play a little bit of music. I laughed. I was like, oh my god, Mason, they're doing the same shots. And then she turns around and he's like, boom, like Batman right behind her.
And I'm like, that scene was like, it was like a parody of Halloween on YouTube.
Yes. It was.
Like,
you know what it reminded me of?
The sewer scene as well, when he got the fucking whatever powers got after he came out. I'm like, don't stab that fucking homeless guy. Don't do it. And then he stabs him like, oh fuck, you're doing it. Oh no. Oh no.
Yes. Okay, so do you remember when, you know, Joe Dante made Gremlins, right? And then he wanted to do Gremlins 2, and they gave him all the power, right? And he literally makes fun of the first scene when Phoebe Cates mentions her dad dying in the chimney, that really sad sequence in the first movie, you know, trying to surprise us with presents coming down the chimney, and he got stuck and died in the chimney. He burned to death in there. And now that's why I don't love Christmas, because my dad died in the chimney trying to surprise us. Like, really fucked up scene in that movie, and it worked. And then he literally makes fun of that scene in the second Gremlins movie by having her talk about how she's traumatized by another holiday for a ridiculous reason. That's what this scene reminded me of. Like you were saying, a complete joke parody on something that was serious and well done before.
Yeah.
But the difference is it's from a completely different director who wasn't trying to, I don't think, make fun of it. He was trying to make it. Yeah, exactly. It wasn't intentional. That's exactly my point.
Yeah, these two have to be like the most tone-deaf sequels I've ever seen in my life. Kills and ends.
Yeah, And it's crazy because it's by the same. It would make sense if it was tone deaf, right? And it was from 3 different directors, right? You put Colin Trevorrow as doing the third one. That makes sense because Colin Trevorrow can't.
And even though he has like a bland style, kind of, and he isn't too known, like David Gordon Green has made a handful of solid films and has made like a couple very good ones, like George Washington. All right, so how he does it this poorly, I don't really don't understand. But he has so much to work with and knows all about the Halloween films and interviews. I do not get it. And another thing, why are there 5 writers on this?
Yeah, that's never a good sign.
2 of them have never written a film before.
Too many cooks in the kitchen. Yes, no, that's another thing. You got 2 new writers too. Why are we writing movie continuity scripts to major franchises like we're writing MCU trash on DC or on Disney Plus? Why are we writing them like TV shows? Like, I understand that can work for TV sometimes because those other writers leave, and the new writers that have been writing with that team for a while can then continue the continuity in a show. And sometimes that works, but it does not work for movies. Most of the time it doesn't anyways.
Unless you have like 2 new writers who have literally watched the whole franchise up to this point and being like, okay, yeah, this is how I want, this is where I think we should take this. But it's just like, no, man, don't just do your own damn thing.
I just don't. I mean, sometimes though, like in the case of, it's like David Gordon Green is directing his own thing, yes, champ, but he's also directing other people's scripts. So then they're arguing behind the scenes about how they're going to end a certain scene, and then they probably change it during production 3 times, or they shoot.
Yeah. They made a mistake with greenlighting these back to back.
Yes, every Halloween does not. I mean, like, I get it. You want to do that every Halloween thing, but that can't. I mean, now maybe if you film them all back to back 4 years ago and then released them later, whatever. But I think rushing the production of this and the writing of it is the problem.
With with the movie series like the ones that you have like the slow burns.
Yeah,
you should normally have like 1, maybe 2 kills in the first movie, and have focus on the characters. Ramp it up, go maybe 3, 4, 6, and then by the end of the trilogy, just go balls to the walls, all out, and then like have like if not, but this won't work for Halloween, but like have the hero and the villain have their own body counts by the end of it, and literally have that like epic final face off.
Yeah, I don't know how much that would work for Halloween, but I guess and it would. I guess it wouldn't really work for something like Friday the 13th because there's no clear heroes. There's always a new hero in Friday the 13th is different because they don't have their own continuity. They don't care about their continuity. Every movie doesn't care about the last one. It makes no sense. Jason's like, the differences of like his body size and all that by the time you get to like 3. And then versus 1 is hilarious, but
they don't care. It's like
no, they didn't care. Then it wasn't. They cared about getting the kills.
Yeah, all you cared about is like what is this motherfucker's body count going to be at the end of this goddamn thing?
That is the reason why you go to see Friday the 13th is to watch him kill annoying teenagers.
and I think the new one did that well.
Teenagers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the new one does that well too. I think they're trying to, in a way, they tried to make Michael that, and that Michael's never really just been that.
No, Michael's,
and that's kind of the problem. And then
it's horrible. If you do not do this with Michael Myers.
Yeah, I mean,
will say the actor who plays him did a good job, though. He did a great job.
He does great. Yeah, no, he's not to blame here. Yeah, he nails that original performance.
Yeah, that movement and everything.
But that's because he works with Castle and them like on the movement and all that. He's been working with them alongside the side.
Like,
so that's great.
Kind of like, it's almost kind of like the Assassin Brotherhood. Like they do they like trying to teach new initiate on what to do.
You would compare it to Assassin's
Creed. Yeah, I would.
What's wrong with you?
I've been playing too much Valhalla.
Okay. Living to segue into violent video games now.
But
oh my god!
But it's just like, you want to keep what has been iconic to Michael iconic, like the whole stride.
Michael is a mystery and he is pure evil. You go beyond that and you start explaining too much about Michael, you ruin the character. This is the problem I have with a lot of things, franchises, is explaining backstory too much. That whole cop scene and flashback and kills, while that scene was cool and the way and the filmmaking behind it was really well done, did not need to happen in Kills. Because, and you leave a bunch of other doors and unanswered questions as well with other characters in that night and what happened that night in the 70s and stuff like that. I had major problems with that storytelling wise. Visually, it was fun. It's like a nice fan film, but it should not have been in the movie.
Leave the character alone. Just leave him as he is.
That entire story shouldn't have been in the movie.
Yeah, an enigma.
No. Well, and that's what, I don't know. We can go all day into what the first movie is, but I want to know, Sean, okay, so we know romance dragged on. Him and Laurie's granddaughter go onto the roof. They, talk about leaving. There's this whole theme where they want to leave Haddonfield, and it's just not good for any of them. Yeah, no one's like. I love the fact that in the third movie, in just a few years or however many years it's been or whatever, but from the second, Haddonfield got really ghetto. Did you notice that? We like from Haddonfield's like a tiny sleepy town, and then in this movie there's more poor people, and like they get rid of Michael's house, they bulldoze it, right? Like, man, that makes sense. They want it out of their town, but then ever since then there's now higher crime rate against each other because everybody's paranoid because of the Michael legacy.
Yeah, and people I knew they would do that. And I don't mind the idea of that, Tim, but again, it's all about the execution.
Yes, exactly. And it doesn't make sense for Haddonfield a little bit. It was very weird. That it did not feel like Haddonfield. The third one felt like a completely different, kind of like when she moves to California in H2O. It's like, but at least in H2O they explain why she does that and why it's a new setting.
Like fucking Surrey, BC. Goddamn.
Yeah, it's like to get the hell out of there. And it's because she didn't want to stay somewhere where there's too much tragedy. Like
that makes sense, champ. But like, I don't know, and there's many things that don't make sense. Like I said, coincidences in this entire franchise, especially Kills. But we get to, so we already set up yada yada. Town's ostracizing Corey. People don't like him. She takes him in because she feels bad for him, understandably so. After what she's been through, she kind of instigates him a little bit to stand up against his town bullies a little bit, which kind of backfires, and then that makes him more crazy to the idea, or at least positive to the idea of, if people already see me as a monster, I'm just going to go ahead and accept being one.
Yeah.
So these kids throw him off of the bridge, which is identical to the scene in It Chapter 2 where they throw the gay couple off the bridge to Pennywise. Mason and I was like, do you get Pennywise?
Just one of them, right?
Yeah, right.
It's like,
get
rid of the gay.
Throws them off, and Mason and I are like, I'm getting major It vibes. This is just weird. Like, why did it have to be the bridge? Like, okay, the difference is he fell on a train track.
We all float.
Yeah, we all float here, and then he goes down there. Okay, we have this hobo. We've seen a couple scenes. We've seen a hobo, a couple scenes, right? By the way, champ, when we saw the hobo, Mason and I immediately screamed, "John!" That's John. We thought it was funny. John will get that joke when he's in here. That happened, and then Corey he's down there. His back hurts. He somehow survives the fall, crawls into the sewer. And he's looking around, and he's in there. And who's hiding in the sewer after all these years? Michael is chilling in a sewer. How did he survive? And Mason's like, "Are we gonna see like a bunch of like strode rats all over the floor? That like he ate a bunch of rats, like the scene in the first movie where he ate like the German Shepherd, or
it's like in Jeepers Creepers Reborn, eating the worms."
Right? He's like, I must eat. Like it was like I thought it was gonna be like an interview with a vampire moment, but they didn't do that.
When I first saw him in the sewer, I thought he was like, like connected with the stone in the fucking walls. And
yeah. I was like, what the hell happened? They just like completely like morphed him into the. But no, like, and then they get in there, and the stupidest thing happens. The stupidest thing. This is like Thorn trilogy territory of stupidity. Because this is when we get into the superpower shit, champ. Brace yourself for this. Corey then sees Michael. Michael sees Corey. He's cracked through this little opening in the wall, the side opening in the ground. He grabs Corey by the throat and pulls him up, looks him in the eyes, and they have this weird exchange where it like flashback, and he sees Corey's life through his eyes, and he spares his life. What the fuck? So Michael can read minds now out of people's eyeballs? What the hell is happening? Like I was never established at any point in time unless you talk about the Thorn trilogy, which this isn't a part of. So why is he reading minds?
Did they literally give this man fucking Ghost Rider's powers?
Well, at first I thought what they were trying to do is find a way to film translate that he was essentially giving his evil to Corey. I thought maybe that's what they were doing, is that he's like giving him evil.
Yeah,
like it transcends. But that's not what they were doing. I think what they were doing is they were trying to communicate that he could see his life through his eyes and realized he was a tragic figure like himself and spared him because of it. It's stupid either way.
It's stupid, but it's just like Michael's just like, nah, man, you are too pathetic for me to even kill. Get the fuck up out of my face.
From the comics, so Michael Myers is really good, which I think they could have implemented. I'll have to read some of those. I've been told about some of those that are pretty good. Normally, a lot of the horror comic stuff's really good. Like even the Evil Dead crossovers with Freddy and the zombie stuff has been pretty good too. You don't say, but yeah. I mean, I don't know how Sean feels about that, but I thought that eyeball reading scene was ridiculous.
It was the dumbest shit ever, but I saw it coming, and I was like, do not kill the fucking homeless guy, or that I knew it was going to go down that route of him just being like, the secondary guy. I'm like, no, please don't.
Of course. They needed a guy there for Corey to kill, for him to be transcended. Now he's officially a killer.
I swear to God, though, with how old the homeless, how old Michael Myers is, he might as well just be the homeless guy. They're both felt the same, and they both are like looking them in the eyes the same way. Honestly,
well, when we see his face at the end, he kind of does look like a homeless guy. Homeless guy has been through some shit.
Yeah, and I don't know how that fucking let's get this straight. In Halloween Kills, he's surrounded by like 50 men, like twice his size, with all guns, knives, circled, injured, close to death, and he kills all of them.
He slaughters all of them.
3 years.
I'm not trapped in here with you. You are now trapped in
here.
Yeah, no,
he's shanking like a prison bitch. But then you get
3 years go by and he's already this frail.
And he's hunched over like, I'm not kidding you, champ, hunched over like a hunchback, and he's weak. And you're like, okay, he's weak. Why? Lack of food or whatnot?
No.
What does he do? What does he do? Yes, champ, what you just said is real. There's a scene where him and Corey are in there, right? And he stabs, and when he stabs the guy, Corey tells him to his face, to Michael, he says, show me how to do it. He's like, show me your ways, right? Michael grabs the knife off the ground and stabs this guy. And after the first stab, they do this weird sound effect and the music, and he's like that, like he's inhaling something. And then he finished stabbing him. And then he goes from hunchback and weak to standing up perfectly straight and cocking his head. And he's back. And you're like, he's a vampire now?
I'm retarded.
Yeah, well, they did say he kills, he kills to gain power, apparently. So that's how he does it. That, or maybe because he was stuck there not killing for years, that, or like the house destroyed, maybe he lost.
That's how he
power.
Eats, though.
Yeah,
I get they set that up in Kill. Yeah, I get they did that in Kills, where it's like as he kills, he transcends, and he was slaughtering them all, and he's just becoming more powerful. They can't take him. I get that. They already kind of did that in Kills. They set that up that ridiculousness, but like they go, that's
think
even
it's
further for me.
stupid.
This
you're weak and frail because you have not been killing for 30 fucking
that would be amazing if that was possible, but that's totally makes no sense.
It's like it's like during our podcast where you just go, I'm retarded.
Don't make me play
yeah.
it. Don't make me play it.
Do it.
Don't make me play it. I will when you say something really dumb.
No balls.
But
no fucking balls.
I think at the end of the day, I think like it's just stuff like that take you out of it. I was laughing through most of it, unintentionally, might I add, because this is not intended. I could see where they were going with it. And then right when we'll just kind of skip basically to the end because there's really not much in between that other than I will say
I probably would have been
his girlfriend, the girlfriend, the granddaughter of Lori, right? She's working as a nurse, right, in this doctor's office. They have this whole net setup where she doesn't like the other nurse, the other assistant that's working with her. She's kind of a bitch and says really dumb things, and you can tell she's fucking the doctor. Mason called it. She's fucking the doctor. I know it, and he called it right. I was like, oh my God, you were right again. She goes home at night. She's with the doctor. Like, champagne, huh? And he's got the cork. He's got the champagne cork. And I was like, he's going to get shanked with that champagne cork. I immediately already knew because of what I had seen before. Someone's going to die of the champagne cork. You just left it there. You didn't even focus on it. I already knew what you were going to do. And I was like, but it's not going to be Michael because the scene beforehand, champ, this is ridiculous. This almost made me mad, this one. Corey goes into the sewer and he demands to have Michael's mask, and he fights and tussles with Michael. Mind you, after Michael's already killed somebody and he's stronger, he fights with Michael for the mask. He's give it to me, and he like pushes him down. They're rolling in the shadow. It's like shadowy, and you don't know who's winning at first. Pushes him down, and you see him. He takes the mask with him, and then he drives to lure his bullies into his workplace so he can kill them in the junkyard. That was all pretty cool. I would say that sequence is really cool, and the fact it's him doing it. And then, then leading up to, what he ended up doing, after that, I just thought the way they handled that on Beyond that was just weird. And also him overpowering Michael. How the hell does this? I don't care if this kid's learning from Michael. He doesn't have Michael's abilities, clearly.
I don't care if Michael's not trying to kill him.
I don't care. You are fucking
He
dead.
just he pushed him down, got on top of him, and took his mask. As we know that when Michael freaks out when he doesn't have his mask, how did he not die then? How would Michael at that point in time not say, okay, I saved you, but now I'm going to kill you? Because that's like a trigger thing, right? At that point, Michael would just overpower him and kill him, right? For taking the mask.
Okay, bitch.
Doesn't do it.
I gave you your one save in this movie.
Yes.
Now I'm taking your life.
That's what I thought he was going to do. He didn't do it. I said they pussified Michael on this. And then he goes to kill. Then Corey takes the mask, goes to the doctor's place where he's having the affair with the crazy bimbo and he just chases them. He knows where they're at, and he kills them in their place. Why? Because his girlfriend doesn't like them? Why did he kill them? But see, and there's an explanation there. But the great thing about Michael is he just randomly kills. You don't know why he kills who he kills. That's what works about Michael. But with Corey, everything's personal and dumb. It's like high school shit.
And was their place like isolated at all? Because they made a lot of noise.
Yes. Right. They're in like a glass, and they're in their glass. In the doctor's glass house and pool and fancy shit. He goes in there. She's like gone or whatever. She's like, oh, you got me this lingerie. Goes outside, and the doctor's getting shanked by, well, as I called it, the freaking corkscrew. And Corey's in, I think, isn't that when Corey? No. Sorry, I'm confusing the scenes. That's when Corey had the weird Halloween mask that he went to the party with his girlfriend previously before. He killed the doctor in the Halloween mask. My bad. Then he goes to take the mask from Michael later on so he can have it to kill his bullies in the junkyard. So I'm getting the scenes confused. But you can understand why I'm getting confused, because they seem like they all happen the same night of stupidity. So that happens. And I already have a problem with the fact that he's able to overcome his strength, but then they do that stupid
this
scene.
is the last film of the trilogy. This is not.
Yeah,
like,
this is the last. It's not even just the last film of the trilogy.
Like the third and the fourth, I would maybe say okay, but this is the last. Why are you doing this in the last?
This is the last film in a trilogy, and it's the last film possibly ever to uphold Michael's legacy, and this is what you choose to do.
Why are you wasting this time on a new character Doom fucking around like this?
It felt like at first
balls.
it felt like somebody was trying to do their imitation of like a Wes Craven like teen horror film, but it didn't have any of the charm of what Wes did in those teen horror films.
Oh yeah, no, don't get me started about the fucking side characters. Holy fuck. The side characters in this, especially those like prep students, were as bad of actors as the supporting characters in that Willy's Wonderland film.
Yes, exactly. I literally in the theater said they feel like cast members that didn't make it in the casting of Willy's Wonderland. I said that to Mason and he laughed. He was like, because Mason, I said the worst part about Willy's Wonderland is the teens. The best part is only Nicolas Cage and the animatronics in the world. Like that, and it made sense to me because they felt like that. They felt like somebody got them for the Chicken Soup for the Soul production. And then they didn't make it in Hollywood.
It literally feels like the animatronics are just a knock on like rejects from fucking Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, but they're told better than that. The animatronics in the universe of that movie is what makes that movie work in some degree. That's the most interesting advertising bit of that movie. Without that movie is nothing anyway, and it really wasn't good to begin with. But
it should not have been as good as it had.
No, it wasn't great, and the only thing that holds that up is Nick Cage, and they didn't even give him lines. But they don't give him lines. He literally doesn't talk in the movie.
I mean,
the entire movie.
That's what he should.
They give him funny things to do. But
yeah, they give him funny things to do, but he's perfectly good at doing what he does, just beating somebody's ass.
Andrea says, he said, that is such a stupid deal to have his mask be taken away from him. Cries like a little bitch and doesn't kill him violently. Yeah, that's what I didn't get. Like, just didn't even. He didn't really. I mean, he kind of rolled around in the dirt with him, but he didn't really seem to freak out when he took the mask. It was very unlike Michael. So there's all that. That is a major problem, and then we get to the final confrontation shit, because I will say that exchange between Laurie and Corey when Laurie goes into that house that Corey keeps going back. I'll just spoil it, champ. Keeps going back to the house that the wife and husband sold. They left, essentially. It's on the market. They left this house after he killed that kid at the beginning, right? Because they don't like the memory of their dead son in the house. So what does Corey do, which makes it look really suspect and stupid? He goes into their abandoned house every day and sits and kneels or lays and sleeps all the way where the child died. What he did, and I'll explain it real quick, champ. The kid locked him as a prank up in the attic, right? At the very top of the stairs. But there's a spiral staircase. It's in this huge mansion of a house, right? That's where he was standing. So he's like, okay, come on. And the parents are like coming home as this is happening in the intro. And he screams at the kid and says, ha ha ha. He's trying to be nice. Like, come on, open the door. And then finally he says, I'm going to fucking kill you, little twerp. And the mom hears that she's walking in. He kicks the door violently. It knocks the kid off. He goes flying down to his death, kills him instantly down on the floor. All the way down. That's how the kid dies. It's a wonderful scene.
Them, because they showed the shot of the tall ass staircase. We just didn't know which one.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And that's a great scene.
Stupid one.
But what he does is he keeps going back to that house through this entire movie and laying where the kid died. He's like, I'm going to lay here. Did you find it hilarious that when Laurie finds him sleeping there, Sean, that the color of the blanket he's laying on is red, and they purposely, somebody from the set fixed the blanket to look like a puddle of blood. So when he gets up and he's talking to Laurie, there's a shot from the stairs. It looks like the red blanket makes it look like a puddle of blood in that same spot. I was laughing hysterically that they got somebody from production to fold a blanket to make it look like the child's blood because symbolism.
Yeah.
Symbolism.
Yeah, the fuck logic symbolism.
The realism is gone. Now it's all about images and symbolism.
It's all about that Ryan Johnson feel. Hell yeah.
The Ryan Johnson. Hey, at least he subverted expectations.
You're retarded.
So here's the thing, and Champ's going to be kind of shocked by this. So anyways, Lori confronts Corey. She says, I can't trust you. You have, there's when I looked in your eyes, there's evil, yada, yada. And he does. Mason literally in the movie predicted the line that was about to come out of his mouth. He says, Mason says he's going to say, if I can't have her, nobody can. And he was just joking. And then Corey says, if I can't have her, nobody will. And I looked at Mason. I said, we are on fire tonight. I looked at Mason. Did you write the script? How much you getting paid?
I think they got all the leftover cocaine from the set of Eastbound and Down while making this film.
Why?
Right?
It's just something out of a fucking anime. It's like,
Danny McBride.
It's like it's something out of an anime. Oh, if I can't have them, then blah blah blah. No one can.
Yeah, it's the big threatening speech. Well, he has that moment with Lori, and Lori's like, I'll do what I have to do to protect my granddaughter, right? And you start seeing old Lori come creeping back up, right? And it's really cool, kind of. Yeah, it's starting to boil. She's literally leaning in a chair like this, Champ, up against the house, going to wake him up, going, dun, dun, back on the chair. And she's like, I totally get where you come from. I took you in all this stuff, and she's just basically laying it down. Like, this isn't going to happen. You guys aren't going to move away. My granddaughter's not going to be running away with you. All this stuff. I will do what I must type of thing. Well, they get into a confrontation, and Corey stabs himself in the neck. And she's like, oh, and she's trying to stop it. And then she pulls the knife out of his neck. And who walks in the house? This is towards the end, right? Who walks in the house? The granddaughter. And so she immediately freaks out and blames Lori. You killed him because of this. I can't do this. And then she storms out the house, right?
Yeah, and I know she's in shock with what she just witnessed, just him stabbing himself, but you couldn't have just said anything like, it wasn't me. He did.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing and she's panicked about it.
Don't fucking remove it. You leave it in.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think she was I think she panicked at the moment of, I got to take this knife out and then do something with the body before she gets home, but that didn't even happen. She walked right in the door. So I'll give her some slack there. But then we have a really cool scene. I actually like this scene. There is a scene. So the whole time Lori's writing this novel or whatever, she's writing a book, right? Telling about her story of overcoming the curse of Haddonfield. And that was okay. That was a pretty good, decent touch. I feel like they only added that in there because she's also a writer herself and has written stuff for kids and stuff. So they wanted to, this is
I was thinking of that as well, but with Champ instead of MSK.
Damn. Wow, horror's gotten lazy and too predictable. And it's not even like, here's the thing, Andrea. Horror, I often see when it goes simpler and it goes back to the good old days, it becomes less predictable because we haven't seen it in so long done in a simpler way. That simple is often better. But when they do all this grand explaining of everything, it gets super convoluted. This is my problem with Star Wars, right? Star Wars gets it wants to explain all the stories in between and then some, and explain where Han Solo got his stupid name, which was terrible. What happens? It becomes dumb, and you end up ruining key characters you've liked before because you've explained too much of them. They did this with with Anakin and everything else.
Yeah,
I just they're doing the same thing with horror icons too.
Why are you doing this? You just stop it and get some help.
Stop it, get some. Yeah, your favorite meme. So I thought the scene where she's still talking about the evil and getting away from it and moving on, but then you starts to get a little bit more dire for her. This scene I kind of saw coming, but didn't know where they were going to go, which was, I thought it was really well done, at least. It seems like after her granddaughter walks out on her, she's got nothing else. She's panicked, covered in blood. She goes up, she starts drinking alcohol again. She takes a giant bottle of vodka or whatever, glass upstairs, sits down, pulls the gun out of her drawer, and she's planning to commit suicide. And I was like, wow, okay, this is interesting. But before she does it, what tipped me off is that she lights the jack-o'-lantern up. And I was like, okay, why would you do that if you're going to kill yourself? You know what I mean? Like, you're going to risk a house fire for a granddaughter to come back with your body in it. Okay.
Yeah. Well, luckily I saw the trailer, so I knew what they were going to do, because they teased, they teased the whole 5-minute climax like it was the whole film.
The fight. Yeah. I'm like, and then they didn't even include certain scenes from it too. That's the worst part. They cut some scenes out, which was really stupid. Some crucial scenes, but I thought the way it was executed was interesting because it's very Laurie, especially from 2018, where she lights the pumpkin, and then, she's drunk or whatever. She's gonna kill herself. She's very emotional, and then she gets up, stands up to like shoot herself, and you see the door from this perspective. You see the door partially open, and it goes splat, and you see, splatter on the wall. Oh my God, she shot herself. No, not really. Corey has been following her, and she knows he's in the house. Was this Corey or is this Michael at this point?
Michael. It has to be Michael because Corey's dead.
No. Well, I might have said it out of order. That's why I'm asking Sean. This would be Corey, right?
Well.
It's all a blur now.
Which one? Sorry, wait, say it again.
When she does the fake out suicide and he walks in on her and she's like, "You really thought I was gonna fucking kill myself?" She pulls the gun on him, shoots him twice. Yeah, no, it is Corey because remember she shoots him off the balcony.
It was Corey who she shot. It was and lit up the jack-o'-lantern and had the alcohol. It was then after that she saw the door open and stuff, him walking in the house. So.
Yeah. I thought the execution of that was cool. I like that because it made sense. Like, you shoot a jack-o'-lantern with a gun and with candle wax, with red candle wax, and it's going to splatter and look like blood in the wall. That is explained, and it looked interesting visually. And then the door opens, and she's like, "You thought I was going to do it, motherfucker." She shoots
kill herself, obviously, but it was cool.
Right.
It was well executed.
Yeah. Exactly. And so she shoots Corey several times. That's what I meant to say, Champ. Shoots Corey several times, and then down the stairs, poetic justice, yada yada, in the same place where the kid died, yada yada. But this is, mind you, this isn't in the same house though. This is in her house, but it's still kind of poetic because it's still in the staircase, yada yada. Anyways, then he does the whole thing. If I can't ever, and then stabs him in the neck, and then she gets the knife and she walks in, and it's this scene right here. This is the moment where she walks in. Shit's going down. She looks at that's kind of it's not a very shocked face, is it?
Yeah, it's just like, what the
like
fuck
even the initial shock should be terrifying.
It's kind of like that look that you give me and John whenever we're just being stupid. It's just like,
yeah, it does. No, that's the look I was giving the entire film, Champ. So then eventually, I love how I'm getting scenes out of order because that's how much things blended in that just didn't make sense to me.
That's why I'm confused because I knew you mixed the two. I just didn't know what you're saying exactly. But you also
those scenes are almost back to back.
Previously, Tim, you forgot the scenes where he slaughtered the fucking the prep kids, and then that one.
I just brought up the fact that he lured them to the junkyard, but I didn't. It's not a crucial scene that really matters. I even skipped his mother's murder.
Keyboard.
Yes, yeah. Dude, he goes to the DJ who he has beef with on that radio tower that I mentioned earlier. He's been going up on the roof on. For some reason, goes and kills. By the way, kills Darcy the mail girl, makes a cameo. If you ever watched Joe Bob's Last Drive-In show, you know who she is. I was a bummer. I didn't want to see her die, but they didn't have her die on screen. It was cool to see her there, by the way. And then the DJ with the fro, and he slams it, bashes his head into his DJ tray and everything, and his jaw's all busted open, and then he takes his tongue and cuts it and drops it on the record that he's DJing. It was hilarious. Kind of like a moment of shut up because what you say, because he's basically on the DJ.
Evil, see no evil, speak no evil.
He's basically been profiting from the whole trauma of Haddonfield, and people don't like that he's bringing up stuff from the past and talking, whatever. Yada yada yada. Who cares? Freedom of speech.
Do that. No evil. See no evil. Speak no evil. Bullshit.
Yeah, it was kind of like a weird way of them just saying fuck the. I was almost. I mean, do you think that was an attack shot of them like attacking Nerdrotic of them saying like their way of saying we need to put a personal message in here about like how what you say matters. Michael's gonna cut your tongue and tell you to shut up because they've already made everything political about these movies anyway.
Oh yeah,
that's what I hate about Hollywood.
I thought that was a little bit of that
political.
Well, every time she speaks out and goes into press conferences, she always makes one movie political about something. Like the Halloween Kills, she said was literally a parallel of Black Lives Matter, and everybody laughed at her because it's not at all. And if that's the case, the movie literally is a caution warning that mob mentality is not good. So if that's your message, you done goofed.
It's a good message. I mean, those fucking
hey, can you put that I'm retarded?
But that's not. I don't think that's what she meant for it to be, Sean.
I'm retarded clip, but not for me.
What was that, champ?
Can you just play the I'm retarded clip, but not for me?
And just have her reflection in it. That's what I need.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
Jesus
it's just
Christ.
stupid stuff like that.
Yeah.
Very weird that it felt too on the nose, but this entire franchise feels too on the nose. And we get to the cool fight that everybody wants to see. By the way, taking her knitting needle and shoving it in her ear is fucking brutal. That actually happened, champ, and it goes further in than that.
Nice.
That is horrible.
Nice.
Then Michael gets personal. I thought was kind of cool. He takes her hand and puts it in the trash compactor, into the slicer, into the sink, and is planning to slice her fingers off because that's what she did in the previous film where she cut his other two fingers off, right? He's getting personal. He's like, you take my fingers, I'm taking your fingers. He wanted to do everything she did to him. I thought was really cool. Kind of fucked up on that. She got her hand out in time. Then they do the most ridiculous thing.
Motherfucker.
She beats the shit out of him anyway. She like nails his hand yet again to the counter, right? She's got him on the counter laid out, hits him with the frying pan, everything.
Bang!
That whole thing that played out was stupid, Tim, because first off, Michael Myers throughout the last two films, he did not play around with his victims, really. He just killed them like just a knife.
Yeah, he killed with them and then played with them after they were dead.
Yeah, so it was stupid how he was trying to do that with her and like her granddaughter, and then also trying to like nail him to the table. Okay, so at first, she just like stabbed him in the heart and then was like, "Yes, thank God." And then he came back. But wait a minute.
He sits right back up with it.
You said, "Oh, he's not human." So why would you expect that to work? And why would you like, "Oh, thank God," and then you're surprised. Nail that motherfucker so he can't move.
She stabs him, champ, and he's like, sits up with it, and then he like backhands her into the counter. I'm like, what did you think was gonna happen?
Of course, a WWE Undertaker just sit up and just fucking rise in the
absolutely,
He brutalized. He like slams her into the counter, like face first, like bashes her face. Like he's doing crazy shit, right?
Let me guess how he slams her. He WWE grabs her by the neck and just lifts her up and then choke slams her.
Well, no, he actually more like pushes her from the back of the head and then throws her into the counter, kind of like Bruce Campbell style. Yeah. And then she nails him. So eventually get through this fight. She nails him. Sean wasn't kidding. Nails him to the table with knives to both hands. Conveniently, you want to guess where it's placed, champ? In the palms of his hands. So it's like a Jesus crucifixion.
Oh my!
I laughed because I was like, sure. How else would Michael finally go? Crucifixion, like Jesus. That's because like symbolism. It was almost like the writers and Jamie Lee Curtis were trying to say, like very blatantly by the end, this is a villain you guys root for, and we find it disgusting. Your own personal Jesus. We're going to crucify him on the cross, make you watch, and then we're gonna kill him brutally. So, and after she nails him, she talks slowly to him, and she takes her time, and she opens a drawer, and you're like, what is she gonna take? And she poetically pulls out the butcher knife like he would have, the biggest knife in there. And she shanks him in the side, in the ribs, to make him bleed out while he's down there. And he like grunts a little bit. And then she takes his mask off, and you see him from the side of his face. He's got a goatee and he's got hair, and you can see some rot in his face from all the previous movies before and the eye damage and whatnot. And then she slowly cuts his throat open and bleeds him out like a pig. And she keeps doing that to him. It's like slow torture type of thing, you know. And as Michael's dying, he gets his hand loose and chokes her. And she is up there, and I'm thinking, okay, cool, they could do this right, which I feel like the only way you could do this right to not feel like H2O, but also end on a good note for fans to be happy, is they kill each other. That's what I thought they were going to do by this. That's the smart move, I would think. So I thought they were both going to go down. He's like, I'm going to do it one last time. I'm going to choke her. And she goes, do it. She starts screaming. She flashes back to her life, and she says, do it.
She said that as well. Her granddaughter, do it, you know?
Yeah, she said, do it.
As well. Which, by the way, like, so hold on. She's killing it. Like, didn't she say also in the last film that he's not human? So which one is it? Like, I'm confused. In the first one, he says he's human. In the second one, he's not. In the third one, what? It's a mix of both. What is this? I really don't get it. But yeah.
Well, let's be honest. The townsfolk don't know. Lori doesn't know, but they've made this legend that he's more than human. But yet she knows he's killable, but she doesn't know how. But she's gonna try
how they said that. But they said that with in the second film before telling her fucking daughter when she's going out. Her granddaughter. It's like we can't kill him normally. He's not human. It's like, why didn't you say that to them before they went out?
Yeah, no, it is true. It's like so much of this could have been avoided from speaking to each other about.
But yeah, while they're killing him, I mean, I expected it would be something like this, like the religious aspect, because that's the only way, some sort of religious thing to kill him, maybe with like a fucking dynamite. I don't know, like in the
right? Yeah, dynamite. Well, they blew him up in Halloween too, and that didn't work. Remember? So.
Yeah, I thought both of them would just blow each other up or something. I don't know, but
I thought that would have been kind of cool. It would have been kind of cool if he strangled her, right? And then she died, and she crossed on top of him, and they were both just dead there. And that's what the cops walked into. And that older retired cop from the previous film that she was in love with walked in and witnessed it. The granddaughter's dead. They're all too late, but they're both dead. The legacy is over. With her, she had to sacrifice herself to end the curse completely for the rest of the town of Haddonfield. That's what I thought they were going to, and that could have totally worked.
And it would have been simple. It's the most obvious thing to do, Tim, because this is probably her last film ever anyway in the Halloween franchise.
Yeah.
And, they could have the poetic thing, like they could cut to two different things. One where they're carrying his body to a meat grinder, and the other one where they're, burying her respectfully.
Burying her and do the symbol like side by side. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
That after like a 30-minute clash, just laying on top of each other. That would have been the smart thing.
Yeah. So not only did they subvert our expectations by saying, guess what? Corey's not going to be in the rest of this movie. He's dead. He will not be the new Michael. You're like, then what was the point of all this Corey shit?
Yeah.
Because we're sitting here. I'm like,
90% of the film to do that.
Yeah. I was like, I'm already annoyed that there's a new character because now I know what they're going to do with him. And then when they didn't do that with him, I'm even more annoyed because you didn't even go all the way. Like you were starting to go all the way through the entire movie. You should have just gone that route anyway. So they don't do that. Corey dies. Michael's the only one left. They're fighting it out. You think she says, do it. And you think she's going to get choked out. Granddaughter comes in and saves her and slams his hand down, breaks it, like whatnot. She's like, I'm not letting you do this to yourself. She comes in and saves her grandmother.
Wow. And then die.
Yep. And they finish off Michael. And you know what they do? Mask is off, right? The whole time. We already know because we didn't see it go back on.
Yeah.
You know what they do? The townsfolk, the cops, they all come to the house afterwards. They see Laura, she's all bloody. She's like, we need to do this. And the cops are like, we're going to do this tonight. Even the sheriff from the previous film that failed, holding back the mob, comes back, and they're all like, we're going to do this. And then you see all the victims that barely survived Michael, like the black lady who got her neck stabbed by the fluorescent tube in the second movie. She's alive, but she can't speak. And you see her granddaughter walking with her, and all the family and the townsfolk walking with Laurie, and they take his body to that junkyard that Corey worked at, and they chop his body up in the car grinder, which
for some burgers,
yeah, and you see it in graphic detail, like the whole thing, the head crush. They make sure he's dead. They Sweeney Todd his ass. They just don't put him in a pie.
And when they were
you want to make sure he's fucking dead
with his body, holy fuck,
literally,
right? Oh yeah, holding his body, yeah.
Get rid of every atom, every molecule that's left.
They strapped him to a car like Jesus and carried him off, threw him in there.
Burn that shit like Return of the Living Dead, every particle.
Yeah. Dude, that's what I would have thought. I'm like, you know what I would have done? I would have chopped up all the limbs like Dahmer style, and I would have buried those limbs separately in different counties so they can never come back.
Oh yeah, that's another thing I was thinking of. Like, can the limbs move after, because
right.
the city been through? Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, just separate the body parts, because that way he can't have a Jason moment either. There's no that would have sufficed, but they do this meat grinder thing, and they do it. And what happens? I'll read that in a second, Andre. They do that, and then essentially what they do is, she moves on with her life. She's damaged or whatever. The guy comes back, and they have that. I will say that's a pretty cool character moment where the retired cop, won't they? Because they set that up in Kills and whatnot, that they should have been the ones that had dated each other to begin with, and at least tried, but her life didn't allow that, and certainly his didn't either. And he brings her vegetables to her house because they had a whole thing in the grocery store in the previous scene where he's only eating red meat. She's like, you should eat more vegetables, more healthy things, and he brings her a bag of vegetables, and she tells him to stay, and that you can tell she's moving on with her life finally. And that's what they do. And there was no after credit sequence, nothing. It was clear Michael is gone. It's just to get there, it was a disaster.
Until the next franchise,
until the next reboot, where it'll be a female Michael Myers.
Yeah, just watch. It's gonna be her granddaughter. It's like, because she slept with the one killer, so it's gonna be transformed into Michael Myers. Some scream shit.
It's gonna. Sean, it's going to be Makia Myers. That's what they're going to call her, Makia Myers.
I do not need
not Michael Myers, Makia.
No, I do not need a Michael Myers with tits. I'm sorry, no. I will.
Why is that? Does that sexually confuse you, champ?
No, it'd be like this shit.
He's so confused. He's like, I don't know whether to be hard or scared.
No, I'd be like, I'm so done with SJW. I'm so done with the bullshit. It's just like, if they want, just make it as
Champ, just admit you want a girl to wear a Michael Myers mask with you. I mean, just and get kinky. I mean, that's what I had to say. That's the thing,
No.
What the hell?
I'm so done with the whole, we want gender equality. No. I mean, if you want that, then next time you commit a crime,
gender equality.
Next time you can commit a crime, then you should go straight to jail.
I think he means more of the fact of shoving a female Michael Myers antagonist in the film, which I kind of agree. Like, if they're going to do that, that's why they're going to do that. But we all saw what happens when you change things like Jeepers Creepers. You change the monster too much for silly reasons rather than explaining it in your lore. I mean, the fans normally kind of retaliate against it. It's really tricky to change an iconic monster. If you want to do Bride of Frankenstein of it, you can do that. That was out of its time, and you can have the monster and still have a new monster, a female monster. But don't replace the other monster if it's still alive with
your new monster.
We got to do a female one because girls are in right now. Not a good enough explanation.
That sounds like a great idea. Or how about we can do Myers Lives? Because his body was like blown up, but then it transforms all the meat chunks into like a flesh of a human, kind of like that for Mortal Kombat.
He morphs together like T-1000 is what you're saying?
Yeah, or that you played the Mortal Kombat games, right? That meat character that's just like a hunk of flesh.
Hell no.
No.
So Michael he's done screwed up. He's not together like this. He is hamburger meat by the end of the film. I thought it was kind of cool that in this movie they opened up with the Halloween 3 credits, the blue credits from Halloween 3, but it also doesn't make any sense because Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is a completely different anthology film on its own. Well, it was supposed to be an anthology series
as well. You know, it wasn't a Michael Myers film either.
Right? Michael Myers doesn't show up until the last 40 minutes of the film, champ. Because it's all Corey and girlfriend.
Like 2 scenes, you know, like the junkyard scene and the climax. That's about it.
And the tunnel scenes, and that's about it. And there's only 2 of those.
Yeah.
The training scene. He trains him like Robin.
Season of the Witch. This might as well be. Holy fuck.
Dude. I mean, that's craziness, man. I would welcome season of the Witch.
Like following the car when they were carrying his body to like the meat grinder. Jesus fuck. You know, it was like I was watching the DMX funeral.
Okay, Andrea says yes, because that would actually make sense. Okay. To what the comics did for Michael Myers, but wow, the third film seems so lackluster and dull. It is dull. A couple elements in the doll story was told well, the rest of it not so much. And this main story of Michael and Laurie wasn't told well at all because it was already ruined in its previous film. It makes sense for both to die and end the curse because that's the only way it would end through the bloodline. Her killing Michael doesn't end the curse. Well, you say bloodline, but in this, she's not his sister in this, because this is technically before Halloween 2. So it's just a remake. Gordon Green's trilogy is just essentially continuing off of the first one. So they didn't release the information of him being his sister at that point in time. That was like not canon in the theatrical cut of that. So they're technically not doing the brother and sister thing. I prefer the brother and sister thing. I think that was the one thing that worked really well in the other movies and in the Thorn trilogy for me. And I do like I like Halloween 3. I think Halloween 3 is great and stands on its own, and it's like a fun Halloween movie that has nothing to do with Michael. Halloween 4 is my favorite out of the Thorn trilogy. 5 is except for a couple things I like in it, and 6 is garbage unless you watch the director's cut, and it's still garbage. It literally, the 6th film literally gets into the idea of a cult and magic stones. I kid you not. That is in a Michael Myers storyline. Number 5 and 6.
Ooh, they're going to the Celtic or fucking.
Yeah, and of course, you know, the only thing that helps keep that franchise together was you know, having the Doctor around and stuff like that. He's what holds that movie together. May he rest in peace. But
can we just say this? They should have named this movie the retarded ends.
The retarded ends. Yeah. But champ, if the retarded ends, we don't get enough of your wonderful face.
The roast of
just saying. Anyways, I like how we were gonna roast this movie if champ gets roasted in the end. But I think at the end of the day, that's how I feel about it. I thought it was a mess. It is not at all. I think those last 2 movies are probably some of the worst in the series. I would put them near the bottom tier. That's how bad they are, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Only way I'm going to watch this is if somebody gifts it to me for Christmas, and then I'll be like,
"It's free."
Yeah, you can. You can watch it for free on Peacock. If you already have a subscription.
I'd rather wipe my ass with the actual physical copy.
Go on this totally legal film site and watch it there. All right.
Yeah.
No,
it is the quality of pee and cock. You can have either of your choice.
I'm just saying, I'd rather wipe my ass with a physical copy than just fucking literally watching this movie.
So you want me to spend $35 on my hard-earned money to send you a Blu-ray copy of something you're going to wipe your ass with?
No.
That's the most expensive toilet paper I've ever heard of in my life. I am not doing that, even if you are special needs and need it.
No, there were people who actually put diamonds on their toilet paper before.
Yeah. I feel like that's what Madonna does. She wipes her nasty old ass with crusty diamond toilet paper.
Oh God.
That's what I feel like she does. Brother and sister makes sense. Work well in it. Yeah, I prefer that to me.
Sadly, this movie is just,
you would.
It's like after you get done eating a very bad Taco Bell, you just had the runs all fucking day.
Yes, exactly. Oh, you're gonna have a clip on you, champ, tonight on that one.
I don't fucking give a damn.
So I just want to wrap this up with a key question. This is for everybody, everybody watching, and for Sean and Champ. I don't know if Champ, have you watched the Thorn trilogy, Halloween 4, 5, and 6? We'll watch it together because I want your opinion later. So I'll get your opinion on this another time since Sean's seen it. And this is the question: are the David Gordon Green films worse than the Thorn trilogy?
It's close, but I would say yes.
Actually, I want to give my opinion now.
Yeah.
I'm going to give my opinion now, and so we can come back to it.
Wait, how can you give my opinion? How can you give your opinion now when you haven't seen Halloween Ends and the trilogy?
I think at least one of his films is at least solid, like the Halloween 2018.
I just want to give my opinion now. And then
you can't give your opinion. You don't have... I'm going to mute your ass.
Fine.
Well, you're just the posters that look cooler in this one.
I mean,
that would be amazing, actually, if you did that.
I'm going to say this. I, for me personally, since I've seen that bits and pieces of the classic one, the classics are probably going to be better than this. But I just want this part.
Most of what he's going by, Sean, by the way, is he watches the kill counts. So horror movies he's scared of because it's easily digestible for him. So he only knows the plots of these and the spin and the twist of these movies from kill counts. Damn. Listen, Teletubbies is a horror show, okay?
I've seen other shit too.
I mean, yeah, but let's be honest, Champ. You admitted you're a scaredy cat. You don't like horror movies, and if you don't like them, what you'll do is you'll only watch their kill count.
Actually, no, I've seen Aliens vs Predator. I've seen
those are like sci-fi horror, easily digestible.
Yeah, but I've seen some horror.
Yeah. No, you've watched some with me, but I think it's different for you on what you digest.
No, I've seen some horror, not just with you, and I'm just really.
This is a man. If he watched the movie Maniac, he would be terrified that it's a documentary on his life.
With the Thorn trilogy, again, one of them I would say is at least equal to the 2018 one, and then I would believe the other two are probably at worst equal to the kills and end, I would imagine, just from my memories.
No, they're very similar. 2018 is pretty good and Halloween 4 is pretty good, but 5 and 6 are the worst. And in this case, in kills and ends are the worst. So they're very similar. Yeah. That's why I kind of compared them. But what I'm saying is consistently, I feel like the Thorn trilogy might be better quality. The filmmaking and at least the idea, the themes they were trying to do was a little bit clearer, in that universe than this is for me.
I get what they were trying to do, and this is just again execution.
Just
again, I really wanted this to work out, even though I'm not a huge
I did too.
biggest Halloween fan outside of the first, because just because of the connection of the original cast members. I didn't want this to just be like a cash grab for them. Like here's fucking Jamie Lee Curtis's retirement money. And
that's exactly what they were doing. She said,
definitely, especially after the second. But also the second thing is, I'm a huge fan of Danny McBride, so I would have liked to see his work out so he gets more work. But besides,
he's not bad. He's produced good TV shows. Him and
and I just love him as an actor.
Seth Rogen are producing good stuff.
So I really wish this would work out. Listen to The Exorcist, but so far it hasn't.
Nuggies. Right. Yeah, I don't. It's very weird. That's how I feel about it. Mason feels a little bit differently about it. We might get into it in another episode later. He has some different takes from me on it. For the most part, he agrees with me on certain things could have been written better. The certain lines are very predictable because he predicted half of them. Obviously, cheesy, whatnot. He didn't really care about the love story. Although a couple times he was like, "Oh, that was kind of sweet" or whatever. He didn't mind how they did it, but he did admit that maybe some of the acting isn't exactly what it's not the characters he would
there's
pick,
a lot
right?
of stuff we didn't point out because it's just too easy, like the child acting. They still don't know how to write children in these films.
Yeah. Oh, dude, all the children's are asshole. All the children like are assholes in all their movies.
Aren't they just representing the current generation of children right now?
Well, you might be right about that, but these kids aren't playing
Hollywood
Fortnite.
Doesn't know how to write children, all right?
Yeah, they're not like yelling at mom for V-Bucks and like spinning fidget spinners in this movie, champ. So if that were the case, I'd say yes, but they're not doing enough of that. They're just being assholes to their babysitters.
Yeah, they're just writing the children just to be assholes, just to be assholes.
I think. Well, that kid. Okay, so that kid did something that. There was another movie, it's like a horror movie, B movie that has gotten some resurgence now that's not good at all, but it's funny to watch, called Trick or Treats. And it's on Shudder. You guys can check it out. It's basically a ripoff of Halloween about this babysitter babysitting this kid, but this kid is essentially a prankster, and you can't tell the difference between what's real and what's a prank. It starts to blur. And his crazy psycho daddy's gotten loose from the loony bin and is going to come back, and probably everybody's in danger. And it has a lot of homages to Halloween. But when this opening happened with the kid pranking the guy over and over again, I felt like they were now ripping off of Trick or Treats. Because they know that film exists. So David Gordon Green was like, wouldn't it be funny if I made an homage to Trick or Treats, the film that ripped off Halloween in the mid 80s? That's a really bad B film. And they did that in this first movie. That whole kid is acting just like that kid, pranking everybody, and then he gets his comeuppance and he dies, which, by the way, spoilers, happens in Trick or Treats. Not in the same way, but I just thought it was like, if obviously I've seen that really bad movie, so I know what it comes from and why that movie was made. So it's even more egregious. You see that and it's like it's right there.
Why?
Casual people aren't going to notice it, but I'm just saying, David Gordon Green, you shameless. I guarantee you he was like, let's rip off that scene or elements from that movie. I'm almost guarantee it. I would want to ask him, but yeah, so that's how I feel about it. I'm done with these requels. This franchise has put me off from the idea of other ones getting a similar type of requel reboot thing. I'm not interested.
Do it right or don't do it at all.
Yes. Yeah. And it's whatever. I like the Halloween. I agree with what Bruce said about the classic Halloween movie. It's the Cadillac of horror films. Like old people, young people who don't like horror movies, they always watch Halloween on a Halloween night. That it's the one horror film that everybody can watch, even with their family, to the most part, because it's mostly bloodless, except for the tit shot in the beginning of the movie. That essentially that movie is it's tame but scary. It's subtle. It's also made with passion of people who were their first time making film, working together to make California look like Chicago, make it look like Illinois, and to quickly throw leaves and shots and stuff. And it's very roughly put together, but expertly put together. It's very interesting. That's why that movie works. Everything beyond that.
I live here in Illinois, and I give that movie respect for what it did to make it work.
To make it look like, well, to make California look like yours. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't try to repeat it. That's the thing too. Is like trying
if you're going to want to do it, either just come out here and film it, or just
they won't do that. Why you gotta do that? They got Hollywood backlots now, champ.
Yeah, you got
locate scouting. It takes too much time. It takes too much money.
Own thing, and it's as long as it isn't as bad as this. All right. Like again, I really don't mind the two Rob Zombie films. We know there's a lot of issues with it. He understood that it was his own style. I didn't actually mind the backstory because I don't think it was what he tried doing there. I don't think it completely ruined his character or anything. I think it was just
Sean likes it when all the characters are screaming at each other, calling each other cunt every 5 minutes.
They started off with like a child fucking taking out the whole family.
In the Rob Zombie one, for the most part, I mean, but he does in the original though. I mean, the original the original he doesn't take out the parents. Yeah, they make the parents asshole neglectors in the Rob Zombie one, because in Rob Zombie's universe, champ, everybody's a crazy loon hillbilly. That's what he does. Like even in the Munsters, he's
I looks like hillbilly. It's just like it's good for what it is, popcorn slasher, but don't.
And the second one did the PTSD element, which I kind of adored. Even it was kind of rough to get through the film itself. There were a lot of boring, bad parts,
but an interesting idea that worked.
Yeah, so I respect these more than like these films, honestly.
Yeah,
I mean, if the execution is going to be bad, I'm just going to go in as what I'm going to expect it to be, a popcorn slasher type movie.
Yeah, I mean, Kills, it was at least more fun to watch.
Yeah.
As stupid as it was.
From it.
Yeah, as stupid as Kills was. The kills were really well set up and brutal. Michael doing his thing is probably the best visually I've ever seen Michael. When they do that slow-mo, where they do the shots of him slicing at people in slow motion, do the camera zoom where they're focused on his eyes as he's doing it, and there's just blackness behind him. Those shots are great.
And even
it's just the characters,
coming out of the fire. It was great.
Yeah. My favorite death, by the way, in Kills is when the wife dressed up as the nurse thinks she's going to get all take it upon herself and be all badass to take the gun. And she's shooting the car, gangster style, missing every shot. Michael says, "Oh yeah," kicks the front door open, kicks the front door on her, and slams her hand. And the Desert Eagle comes back and glocks her in the face, and she dies. That death is hilarious. There's a lot of great deaths in that. He wipes out like 4 people in that scene, and children too. He kills children with their shamrock masks.
The only sad part is he didn't kill all 3 of them.
Yeah, I know, right?
Wow.
Yeah. He people are like, well, he left the baby alive. It's like, well, this is what's cool about Michael is he's random. He's a shark. Like he doesn't have personal vendetta necessarily, other than maybe Lori. That can work, but he doesn't have personal vendetta against anybody. You stand in his way, he may or may not kill you. That's what makes him fun, is he's unpredictable at who he murders. And he's not just also going around killing babysitters either, because they made a reference to that where he's just a babysitter murderer, but that's not what he is.
He's a fucking randomized killer. It's just like,
there's no rhyme or reason why he does it, and the choice to make him mute too is also smart. Of course, then that's the problem with the Rob Zombie one for me, Sean, is they make the kid talk too much. He's screaming and saying all kinds.
I kind of agree. Yeah, like again, there were a lot of issues as well, but there was enough where I could say, I at least appreciate. Same thing with the second. Kills and ends, I fucking know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I had that clip of the kid in that clown mask at his school in the mirror going, because that's how subtle Rob Zombie's version of Michael is. It's him screaming, his parents screaming. Everybody in that movie screams. It's just a hot mess of sweaty hillbillies screaming. Basically, it's
you want screaming in your movie.
Screaming, sweaty hillbillies. You just don't get the banjo butt rape, and you're good.
Yeah, I mean,
so,
do you think this movie is going to make much money? Because, like, I don't know what its budget is. It probably isn't a high budget or anything, but with, like, the horrible advertisement, the last film with people not really caring as much anymore, releasing it digitally on the same day, and them paying for extra things like IMAX for some fucking reason. Like, it's very confusing how much money they're going to make.
It's not going to make much.
Do you think that it was a bad decision to release it on the same day on digital and just not wait a week or two like some do? Or
obviously, especially if they're going to pay for like IMAX theaters and stuff right now for it.
Yeah,
like, that was stupid. I don't even know why people would see it in fucking IMAX, but I respect it because they probably knew how bad this was, and after the kills, I'm like, oh, okay, I respect it. Thank you for not letting make it up to me.
As of 9 hours ago, it says Horror reigns this October as Halloween Ends opens with a 41 million, and Smile continues to with a phenomenal debut, which cracks me up that Smile's making a crap ton of money because that movie's garbage. It literally just steals other iconic scenes from other horror movies and does it poorly.
Smile, bitch.
But
how about I just smile in my sleep while I just focus on the whole movie.
as poor as this movie is, though, at least it's not trying to do something as stupid as Smile, where Smile has nothing, literally nothing other than other people's ideas. And it's not creepy either.
No. Smile was trash. I agree, but I kind of respect it in one regards. All right, it's trying to all right. It doesn't matter. It's trash. It's trying to just be an entertaining, trashy jump scare horror films, unlike other jump scare mainstream
if I want to see jump scares,
which are both trash and just boring. So I at least respect it for doing an entertaining job.
It's true.
Yeah. Well, look at it this way. They're saying that 41 million is the lowest in the trilogy opening so far. So that should be a sign too that if it got 41 million on its final chapter, that a lot of people dipped after Kills.
Yeah, so I expected way lower than I thought. This was going to be a disaster, like fucking.
Yeah, I thought it would have been like, like 25 or 30. No, 41's not horrible, and it's still growing. We still have the rest of this week and the next weekend. It could, even if it has a drop off of 40% next weekend, it's still going to rake in quite a few mil. So we'll see.
If I wanted jump scares, I would just be playing Doki Doki Literature Club and maybe one of the horror mods to add on to it.
Champ, if we want a jump scares, just look inside of a mirror.
Bastard, I did not need that.
Champ, you just need to learn one thing.
Get on the table.
Fuck you. Let me have that one roast.
And as we all know, it's very tipsy thing when it comes to these franchises, but as I've realized with these requels, it's starting to turn into...
They're never gonna stop! Endless trash!
Just let's be honest.
Yes, I was saying
it ain't stopping.
I was saying it while I was fucking playing. Yep.
It's like a freight train on fire.
So what's your rating for this, Tim?
I would probably... If I'm going to get a rating between 1 and a 5, I'm going to give it a... I've got to give it... I guess maybe I should give it slightly higher than Kills, but not... No, actually, it's got more negatives. Kills... I gave Kills like a... I gave Kills like a 2, I think. Yeah.
For me, I gave Kills I do it by 10. I gave Kills a 4 out of 10, but I dropped it to a 3 out of 10 on a later day after thinking about the amount of stupid in it and messy shit. This I'm probably giving it a 2 out of 10.
Yeah. Kills at least served its title, and that's about it.
This served nothing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is worse for me.
If I were to give it something, if I had seen it, I would probably give it like a...
How do you know what you would give it?
I'm going to give it a 1 out of 10.
Champ, I'm going to give you a 1 out of 10.
That's way too high, a 0.
Damn. You're getting that 1 out of 10, Champ. Oops. A 1.
I'm giving it a 1 out of 10.
That's
out of 10.
Oops.
That's MSK and Champ right there.
Oh, it's technically John and Champ, but I could throw MSK in one of these.
Fuck you. No, throw it MSK in with John, please.
Oh yeah, totally. Like you're gonna get out of this. I would probably give it a 1.3. That's 1.3, 1.2, something like that. I think it's the worst in the trilogy, and that is saying something. Because,
so
like I said,
so out of 10s, it's basically like a 2.5 for you.
Yeah, 2.5. I probably would do a 2.5 if I was doing a 10 ranking. Yeah.
Yeah. Shit.
Yeah. Not good. That is around. That's about as low or around the zombie films for me, as far as lowness. Maybe I think the first one I give a little higher than that, honestly. So, and it's definitely close to Halloween 6. I think Halloween 6 I've given like Halloween 6 I gave a 1 because it's just so poorly cut and spliced together. It's a disaster.
So
6 is trash. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
6
trash.
feels like it feels like a TV movie almost in the 90s.
And then, of course, Halloween 2018, I probably give a 5 out of 10. It's competent. And Rob Zombie ones, I probably give each of them like a 4.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it gave the 2018 one like a 4.5, something like that. Yeah. So, I mean, that's where we're at. I'm glad you all tuned in. I had to get that off my chest. I'm glad that Sean came in to get that off his chest. I'm glad that Champ came in here so we could get things off our chest on Champ. I'm glad. I'm glad that.
Whatever. At least I can be at least of some use.
I'm glad we roasted 2 things alive at the same time.
I mean, I come on. I expected to get away from the roasting, and yet, no. All my luck, the roasting just has to follow me over to this channel. So is
this glad. A fetish for you, Champ?
No, it's not. I just wanted to get away from being roasted for one night.
Why would you come here then?
Champ, you know that when Mason's on here, if you're ever a guest on here and it's like you, me, and Mason, you know Mason's gonna go after you. I can't stop too. And Mason knows how to roast you because
you came to a review of Halloween Ends without watching it. What do you expect? Of course, we're gonna roast you. Why are you even here?
I mean, at least I did give a couple. At least I did say my opinions on parts that I did know of.
I did tell you to come for the comedic value though today, so you know you're warned. Somebody said Duck Dynasty. Look, oh my god.
Get the fuck out of here.
Duck Dynasty now.
I'll give you
guys
a
are going off.
Fucking giving you a 12 gauge right to the head.
Holy shit.
Hey, that's not any way to speak about your family, Champ.
It's about family, and that's what's so powerful about it.
Please go watch a good horror film for Halloween instead of something like this. Like, okay, so we talked about that Trick or Treat film earlier. That's kind of like was a ripoff of the original Halloween. There's another one with the same kind of name. I recommend it. It is an extremely underrated film. Very good. And they're going to make a sequel of it soon. Go watch it. Mm-hmm. Like an anthology horror type thing. So
you'll love it. It's you'll love it. If you like the director, if you like Krampus, it was made before Krampus. It's an excellent movie. It is an anthology that all happens in one town to a bunch of people. It's very well told. Most of you already know it. Some of you don't. I highly recommend. Yeah. I also recommend checking out even some of the newer stuff. Like, I know some people are going to go watch Pearl and stuff like that, or have already seen it. Pearl's done really well. As far as stuff on Shudder, Mason and I are watching Mad God right now. I highly recommend. If you like stop motion animation and weird, creepy horror elements, check out Mad God.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all I had to say. Guys,
really does some good shit because I don't remember.
Shudder's got good stuff.
I don't remember if they have a YouTube channel, but
and they had the new Hellraiser that came out recently. And I don't know what your opinion on it is, but I surprisingly thought it was good. There are issues with it, especially in some of the writing. The director needs to find new writers because his directing is excellent. The fucking writers are not.
No, I don't have a problem with the director. I have the problem with that they had 2 young writers that couldn't write. So what did they get to help boost their writing up for them to get this pitch in the first place with the script? They got David S. Goyer of all people to write the Hellraiser. We don't even want him touching our superhero shit. We know what he did with that. Now he's going to touch Pinhead.
But I actually thought it was really good, in my opinion, despite that.
There are some things I liked about it, I can say. There are some things that they changed lore-wise I'm not really appreciative of. I did like the design. I thought the modernized design of the Cenobites was interesting. I thought it was actually really good. I like the idea of making their flesh like their uniforms instead of, peeling it back and different things rather than having this dominatrix look. I actually accepted that design. I thought that was pretty cool.
I also kind of, like a lot of people talked about with like transgenders, like if you were to replace one character with a transgender, which one would actually kind of make sense and kind of fit. This fit actually really well in my opinion
for Pinhead.
Yeah,
and from what I'm told from John, our buddy John, he said that's current timeline accuracy in the books or whatever or in the graphic novels that there's a female Pinhead. That's fine. My only problem is they don't explain that, and so for new viewers, it's kind of just weird, and for original viewers, it's like just takes you out. It's like a kind of weird approach to just have a new Pinhead right off the bat without explaining it, but by the Barchi Man. If you want to watch a live horror movie, just look at Chant. That's how he's pretty horrifying.
Yeah, he saved Rob Zombie some money because they didn't need to put any cup on him for the monsters,
Hey, you know what's true though, Champ? You're already growing the mustache. You just need the beard again. And like the full one that you had, that long ass thing. Rob Zombie might hire you as an extra in one of his next movies. Nicholas in the chat. Already roasting Champ. Oh my god. Anyway, so yeah, that's we'll give our reviews on other things in the future. And Mason and I have plenty to do. Quick announcement. I am going to be we will be officially releasing videos and having live streams on the weekends whenever that fits our schedule after October. So sometime after October, you're going to get an official release date, poster, banner, everything as to when this is happening. We're going legit with this. As you can see, I'm still building set stuff and redoing things up here. New props are going in, old shit's going out, new furniture's going in. We're getting new cameras and whatnot. And completely different layout and setup. Mason and I are going to be on camera together, on camera shots together without like separate bars like this. When we have guests on, they'll be like this and their own separate things. So it's very different layout, pretty well lit stuff. And then of course we're going to have, we're going to do reviews.
Under pressure.
Yeah, we're going to do reviews. We're going to do podcasts. We're going to do mini episodes on horror history, cursed films, which I'm really excited about because the research on that is fun. Researching cursed films and talking about a film each month that has cursed productions and talking about the history of that. We will be going to conventions. The Island of
Dr. Moreau as well.
Oh, yeah, dude, that one's a good one. Mason's favorite. I'll probably let Mason that one.
Definitely need to mention the part with the director, Howie.
Yes.
Okay,
yes, definitely.
Maniac, you hid out in the bushes.
Yeah. No, there's some really crazy stuff. I want to do the Wizard of Oz one. There's a lot of stuff I want to do, but Poltergeist, stuff like that. So that is coming. We're going to go to conventions here towards the tail end, and especially when spring hits. Spring and summer, we're going to be hitting conventions all next year. So you're going to see a lot of that type of video, vlog stuff. There's going to be interviews with celebrities and other people that we know that we've been wanting to talk to. People we already know that we know we can get interviews with, and then there'll be some people we've just met for the first time that we'll get in. So a lot of things are going to change. I'm glad you all came to the channel to support. Thank you so much for jumping in, guys. Means a lot to me.
I had to fill in for Mason since he
Champ had to fill in, and I mean it wasn't really much of a fill in because at least with Champ he was kind of clueless to this and Mason wasn't. So,
but I had to fill in because Mason's gonna fold under the pressure when it comes to doing this type of shit. I mean that first
fold under the pressure.
Yeah.
Okay, boomer.
He's literally gonna buckle. He's gonna probably get that fucking stage fright, and when
I don't think Mason in this first episode gets straight. But the great thing about what stage fright is, our first few episodes we're recording on our own time, so we can do retakes. By that point he'll already be used to the camera. We're gonna be flying with new colors on with the stream and stuff, so we'll be fine at that point in time. And Mason's done streams with me before, just not on camera. So
yeah, but that's the part where I'm going to get his ass.
I mean, Mason has nothing to worry about. Mason's like, it'll be nice to have somebody who looks pretty because God knows you don't feel like what a And on that note, to solidify how I feel about what they have done to horror franchises that I once liked, this is how I feel about it, everyone. Before we go, I bid you all adieu. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you all very, very soon. I want to kind of get some of these last comments in because it looks like you guys are still going in on Rob Zombie's out of hire Champ for Frankenstein. Champ isn't much of a fill-in when he does fill his buckets of chicken nuggies and goes to the theater snacks.
No.
That kind of looks like one of those monster from like Monsters Inc. Kind of.
The slithery, snaky one.
Yeah, that and like
yeah. Champ is the slithery, snaky one that goes invisible and spies on girls in the locker room. And on that note, I will see you all later. You all have a wonderful night. Let me know what you guys thought of the Halloween franchise. You can tweet me at Tim Schafer VO. I do not have banners that come up here yet, so I will probably just type that if you want to tag me on your review. If you haven't watched it yet, go see it, and then submit the review to me so I can actually repost it, because I'm actually interested in your opinion on what you thought of the film overall, or the entire franchise for that matter. So yeah, I'm going to send you guys my Twitter. Some of you have it, some don't. Twitter at me there. When you have seen it, and those of you who've seen it, go ahead and send me something this week. All week until next weekend. Make some predictions too about what the box office completion is going to be by next weekend. I'm actually curious what you think. If you, if one of you, whoever's the closest to the box office completion for next weekend, I will send you a prize and announce it on Twitter. So, and it will be movie related, I promise, not video game stuff. I'll even announce here in the next few days what those prizes will be. So yeah, glad you guys could stop by. Thank you so much for tuning in. Sean, thank you for being on the show. I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
helped a lot.
Anytime I'm available.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we'll be on here more often. We'll goof around and talk more film stuff another time, and film genre stuff.
Yeah,
and
hopefully more guests than Champ.
Damn, he going in. There's a middle finger.
You too, Cole.
And on that note, I will see you guys all later. Catch you next time. Peace.
How does it feel to have lived long enough to see all of your favorite franchises go down in flames?
Feels great.
I'd rather be on the same soul as Jay did.